We got to give some love to the incoming rookies, break down the opportunities that some of them have to be big impact players, maybe even starters right now in the first year of their NFL experience. Is what's going on, everybody. Christian Pedersen back with another episode of Seahawks Digest, the show bringing you daily content as we count down until the return of football. And yes, the offseason has been a little boring. Appreciate y'all following along. If you want to like, subscribe, comment, share, all those YouTube buttons, you know that I'm supposed to mention them for you in the first couple minutes of every episode. If you are a new person checking in on this, though, that now you know the rigmarole. Like that's the contract that we have in terms of like parasocial YouTube relationships. Don't know what I'm talking about. Me neither. Here's what we got for you today, though. This will make more sense. Beau Stevens was the headline of this article that I was reading on America's favorite slop AI generator, Sports Illustrated. He is one of the underrated rookies who will make an impact in 2026. There are a couple of rookies that we are going to get to, but Stevens to me is interesting because of all of the things that you think about putting a rookie in at. O-line to me and quarterback are like the two where I'm the most hesitant, just because like the most can go wrong in my opinion in terms of the like it can you can take a guy who's 22 doing really well at the college level or whatever, and you put him at left tackle, and then holy hell, there's Myles Garrett, the speed of the game, the impact, like all the dominoes fall over. Same with a quarterback position. So to have an offensive lineman slated as somebody who could already make an impact on what I would say is a pretty decent offensive line, we can probably argue over a slot or two, maybe being, like, yeah, if we had a Hall of Famer to put there instead of that guy. But I think it's kind of interesting. So let's start with Stevens. As we go through all of this, love hearing from you guys. Drop comments. Here's the grades for Stevens. O-line is about as, to me, impossible and made up of stats as it can be. The Pro Football Focus people give him an overall grade of 87.7 for his guards. He's first in pass protection with 92.5. I get that we live in an analytical society where you got to come up with numbers for guys, but I also kind of largely think that this ish is a little bit made up and more of, for me, the O-line thing I go in the opposite direction on a lot of things. I will be very analytical on O-line. I'm just a gut check, sniff check, eye test, whatever you want to pass it, vibes check. This guy, Beau Stevens guy, he hits. He's not scared. He's got good feet. He looks the part. Now, obviously, we'll have to see if he can grow into the part. But I think given that we saw, I think we saw with the offense last year, opportunities and achievements that were great, but not what we thought that they could be. And we now have, I think, a little bit better running back room. I think we have a little bit improved wide receiver core and a quarterback who is coming back to another year of, melding with all these guys. So to add more impact at that offensive line, I think that's great. And it singles out, this article did single out one guy, Mr. Bradford, who could be at risk of losing his job to Beau Stevens. I think that maybe losing job outright to a rookie is unlikely, but it would be something where you're going to watch all season, or at least in the first couple of games, first couple of preseason games, first few weeks of the season. And then I think that there could very easily be a little bit of a shift that happens there with like, hey, either in, knock on studio wood, but injuries obviously are part of football. So now, we've got a guy, in addition to signing Bobby Hart and some other more veteran pieces. We have the old or the young option, which I think is fantastic. But also maybe now if there is a piece that isn't performing up to snuff, we don't have to just sort of grit our teeth and bear it. Going down further into this article, it talks about Jadarian Price. I've done enough Jadarian Price that I like. We can give him the in addition to price, comma, that's it. You know him. If you need a more in-depth analysis on him, you can scroll up and down on my page. I got several videos on him. But they talk then going on about second-round pick Bud Clark being in the mix for a safety spot, and that though even if he does not beat out Ty Okada, that he could be a backup rotational piece. I think that offensive line, the way that I was discussing about it being its own thing in terms of rookie usage, is also its own thing in terms of you don't want to necessarily you don't want to rotate O-lineman a ton, because that's a really rhythm and routine piece. To put in a backup safety for one play on third down to give a guy a breather, or switching into nickel or 3 deep, or to have some of that rotational stuff that Mike Macdonald really likes to succeed at, that's a great way to the opposite of my take on the O-line. I love that for the defensive secondary. Get a guy out there for 6 plays a game and call it a successful first couple of weeks for a rookie to get the feel for the NFL, for the speed, for the physicality, for the just the crowd noise and all that kind of stuff before starting to figure out, okay, this guy is elite at this or really bad at that. And then you can start to adjust packages necessary. I don't think that a team that rotates through safeties is anything to be upset at. Additionally, we got one more rookie to talk about that they are talking here, big game on. And it's also, again, in the defensive backfields, and that is the third-round pick that we grabbed, Julian Neal, who's going to be in line to replace Reek Woolen, who we lost in the offseason. It happens. No team ever just runs it back with everybody, especially in football. Rosters are big. Money is capped. It happens. I think it's interesting. They talk about their chances to repeat. It will be heavily dependent on this most recent class. And it seems like time after time after time this offseason, the narrative from the national media has been like, oh man, how are the Seahawks going to be able to repeat? They're just not good enough. They're just not this, that, and the other enough. Maybe it's because I live in a Seahawks echo chamber and I only talk about Seahawks and I only Google about Seahawks and I only read about Seahawks and I don't feel how other teams are doing. But I think that our coaching staff, historically over the last couple of years, and especially in most recent sample sizes, has done a fantastic job at not putting people in over their head, and has been great at schematically rotating and changing things up to not rely too heavily on one thing. And also just messaging wise has been really good at, we're going to have some veterans who are going to teach some rookies, and the culture is going to be about a little bit of everything meeting in the middle. And that's where we get a championship. So I'm stoked to hear about more rookies that we got coming in. And if the O-line one can be the biggest positional battle or whatever that we're going to watch, again, stoked, because we have a rookie who can come in and already succeed at the NFL level there. Fantastic. All right, that's what I got for you on this episode of Seahawks Digest. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Like, subscribe, share, comment, all that other stuff that I'm supposed to tell you about. Until next time, we'll talk to you soon.